In this video, we're going to explore the digestive system. We'll discuss its function and go over all the organs that play a part. Let's start by examining what the digestive system does. You can break it down into two key functions, digestion and absorption. Digestion is how the body breaks down the large food molecules we eat into smaller ones. For instance, starches, carbohydrates, are converted into glucose, proteins are broken down into amino acids, and fats and oils, lipids, become glycerol and fatty acids. Once broken down, the next step is absorption, which is when these smaller molecules, along with vitamins, minerals, and water, pass through the walls of the digestive tract and enter the bloodstream, so they can travel throughout the body and be used for processes like building new molecules or for respiration to release energy. Now, let's move on to the organs involved in digestion. The digestive system can be seen as a journey that food takes from one end of your body to the other, passing through a series of organs and tubes. Along the way, the food is broken down, nutrients are absorbed, and what's left gets excreted at the end. Let's now go step by step through this process. At the beginning is the mouth, which contains the teeth and salivary glands. The teeth grind and chew the food, physically breaking it into smaller pieces. This increases surface area so that enzymes can work more effectively and makes it easier to swallow. The salivary glands release saliva, a watery fluid that contains an enzyme called amylase. The water softens the food for easier swallowing, while the amylase begins to break starch into maltose, a smaller carbohydrate. Enzymes like amylase are biological catalysts, which means they help speed up reactions by lowering the energy needed for them to happen. After chewing, the food moves down the oesophagus, or gullet, a muscular tube. It quickly reaches the stomach, which performs three main tasks. First, it uses its muscular walls to churn and mix the food. Second, it releases pepsin, a protease enzyme that breaks proteins into amino acids. Third, it produces hydrochloric acid, which kills bacteria and creates the ideal acidic environment for pepsin to work. After a couple of hours, the stomach contracts and sends the food mixture to the small intestine, a long coiled tube. But before digestion continues there, two more organs come into play, the pancreas and the gallbladder. Around the same time the stomach processes the food, the pancreas releases pancreatic juices into the small intestine, and the gallbladder releases bile into it as well. Pancreatic juice is full of digestive enzymes like carbohydrases, such as amylase, proteases, and lipases, which help break down carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Bile, on the other hand, has two jobs. First, it neutralizes stomach acid, creating a better pH for enzymes to function, because bile is alkaline. Second, it emulsifies lipids, breaking up fat into tiny droplets, increasing surface area so enzymes can work more efficiently. Bile is actually made in the liver, but stored in the gallbladder until it's needed. The small intestine is arguably the most vital part of digestion. That's because it's where the majority of digestion happens, and also where nutrients are absorbed into the bloodstream. Carbohydrates start digestion in the mouth, and proteins begin in the stomach. But most of the real digestion takes place in the small intestine. The small intestine also releases more enzymes like carbohydrases, proteases, and lipases to continue the breakdown. At this point, all nutrients are now broken down, so it's time for absorption into the blood. The inside of the small intestine is lined with tiny finger-like projections called villi, or a villus for one. These have a few key features. First, a large surface area for diffusion. Second, just one layer of surface cells, making the diffusion path short. Third, an excellent blood supply to maintain concentration gradients. And finally, the surface cells have even smaller projections called microvilli, which further increase surface area. Once all useful nutrients are absorbed into the blood, there's still undigested material left in the small intestine. A lot of what we eat can't be digested, and this remains still a bit watery. It moves into the large intestine, which absorbs most of the excess water. What remains is now a dry waste material called feces. These are stored in the rectum until you're ready to remove them through the anus.
If you haven't heard before, you can find all of our videos on our website geniushub.co.uk. Additionally, you'll also find MCQs, flashcards, past papers, and quizzes. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this.